Oh, the number of men that find themselves dumbfounded. And I don't say that with any judgment, but like, what happened? Why is my wife yelling at me? It can be really confusing because sometimes it can come out of the blue and you don't know why. So let's take a couple of minutes and talk about why your wife might be yelling at you and it doesn't make sense, at least to you. But first and foremost, I want to say that wife, who is often the more feminine partner, more frequently the feminine partner, the feminine is about connection. And usually in her greatest upsets, she's longing for connection. She feels alone, separate, isolated. And so that can show up in a variety of ways, but it's usually because the feminine is not experiencing her essence, her primary desire of connection. And so it might be that she's overwhelmed. She feels like she can't get it all done and she feels like she's alone. Maybe it's because she's feeling like she's sacrificed too much. The feminine knows self-sacrifice, but sometimes she does it too much. And then resentment comes in, and sometimes she explodes. Not the best way to do it, but this is what happens. And how do we clean it up from there? Related to the first two, sometimes she feels alone and unsupported, even though she may be in a marriage or a long-term relationship, or you've said, how can I help? And it still doesn't seem like it's enough. And so there are ways that you can step in and explore what might be creating her feelings of aloneness and not being supported. Similarly, the feminine in relationship needs to feel valued. So maybe she is sacrificing and doing and contributing to you and the relationship and maybe the family and maybe the home, but she doesn't feel valued for it. She doesn't feel that appreciation for what she's contributing to you and the relationship and maybe the family. She needs to feel valued. She also might not feel safe. Now, she probably feels physically safe, but safety for the feminine is physical, emotional, mental, spiritual, now and in the future. And so if there are future things that need to be dealt with, if there are things that haven't been talked about, it can create, if she doesn't feel like, sorry, I'm going to add one more thing before I finish the previous sentence. If she doesn't feel like she can really let go in all of her expression and be held by you, she won't feel safe. And she needs to feel that safety in order to receive the joy of the relationship. Unresolved hurts. If there are upsets and hurts that have not actually been resolved. So if this was your relationship, you were really close in the beginning and things were good and the passion was good, but then you don't really resolve the upsets and there's unspoken hurts and the distance starts to grow. And if that distance gets too big, remember she's about connection. If that distance gets too big, she's going to cry out for help in pain. I need our connection. So looking for how do you both maintain that connection and keep the space between you clear and clean. Sometimes if she feels pushed for physical intimacy, and often misunderstood in her own needs for physical intimacy, not need, well, yes, her needs, but what are her needs along the way in the process? What are the things that arouse her? And they're different. And so she needs to be met in her feminine sexuality. Sometimes there's triggered wounds. There's things from the past. We all brought things into our relationships. And if it gets really close to something that's really tender, maybe even traumatic, sometimes the reactions are too strong. And I say too strong in the sense of once we've worked with it, we won't react in that same intensity. But sometimes it shows up. And so we want to be conscious of wounding. Not that you have to walk on eggshells or do something that is inauthentic for you, but it's also being conscious with each other. What are the pains of our hearts, and how do we work together in that to honor both people being authentic and who they are as the imperfect human self and the beautiful divine conscious self. If she's feeling like she doesn't have any power, control, influence, she may react trying to get that energy, get that influence, get that power. And it's really not what she wants in that way, but she'll use getting loud, getting big to try to feel power again. There are better ways, but we're looking at right now, why does she yell when it doesn't make sense? And then sometimes the masculine backs down from his greatness, and a feminine beloved experiences pain when she sees her masculine partner not living fully over the long term. Sure, we're all going to have off days and off times and off cycles in our lives. But if she watches you collapse, if she watches you play small, it will hurt her being. And she may get loud to let you know that she wants the full you. And so there are things that she needs in every one of those scenarios. And this is your opportunity to begin to discover what it is she needs so that you can support the strength and the structure of your relationship that sustains it, that keeps it close, that keeps it intimate over the long term. So she might yell. It's not necessarily the ideal expression, but it happens. And sometimes our yelling is to set a boundary, to take care of ourselves, and beginning to understand that we don't have to retreat from that energy. We can stand with it and we can heal through it. Yelling's a call for love. And I will add one exception. There are places where it goes unconscious. And if you are not safe, if you are not being respected in an overall sense, we all get disrespectful once in a while. But if that's something that is significant, you must take care of yourself. You must set boundaries. And there are ways to do that and then come back to the healing and the repair. So understanding the needs that create unconscious yelling and when it's crossed a boundary and we need to do something different. I invite you to get to know the dynamics between you and the dynamics of the masculine and the feminine in a way that truly serves your relationship and each of your hearts over the long term. Blessings, dear ones.